What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cinema Sermons. My name is Kevin, and I just got done watching Dune Part 2. So I've never read the books, I've never seen the movies from the 80s or anything like that. I actually just watched the first Dune last night, so I can go ahead and do a review about this. And I will say, this second movie made the first movie much better in retrospect. You know, it's not every time that a movie is released now, it has to usually be a big IP or something like that to get everybody around it. Dune is one of those movies that just seem to capture people's attention. So I had to see why, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the first one didn't blow me away. It wasn't a bad movie by any means. It was a good movie. It just didn't really do it for me. So, did Dune Part 2 do it for me? Let's go ahead and talk about it. But before we do, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps out tremendously. If you like the video, go ahead and share it with your friends, and let's talk about Dune Part 2. So jumping into my positives, first and foremost, man, this movie looks amazing. The visuals on it are just so beautiful. Everything is done, the framing, the way that each shot looks. It is a beautiful film. It is very well done. I'm someone who really, kind of goes toward practical effects most of the time, especially in horror. However, the visual effects in this movie are top of the line, man. There's only a couple scenes where you could really tell that it was CGI. Everything else looked pretty freaking real. It was actually extremely well done. Blown away at how good the visual effects actually were in this film. The lighting, the landscape, the framing of the shots. This movie was beautifully shot. It should win Academy Awards for it. It was a good looking movie.
Futures all at once. And in so many futures, our enemies prevail. But I do see a way. There is a narrow way through.
The musical score by Hans Zimmer, when it has that big swelling victory come in at certain points, man, and when it's supposed to be dramatic, it hits. And I gotta say, there's also some times where there was no music and it was very effective. So the way that they use music and when and where they use music, absolutely fantastic in this movie. This ensemble cast was incredible. The first one had a great cast, right? This one also carries that over. And when you have all of these A-list, really good, high-level actors, and you put them together in a movie, of course they're gonna have great performances. Everybody delivers. They absolutely meld into the characters. They get you to believe in the character that they're playing. And I just thought that was really well done. A standout for me is Austin Butler. This is a guy that we just saw play Elvis not too long ago, and I didn't even know he was in this movie. I'm sitting there watching him like, is that Austin Butler? It absolutely was, and this dude killed it. He has my respect. Austin Butler is a phenomenal actor, and you can tell he's very committed to the roles, and he can kind of be in everything. He's not gonna be typecast as a certain kind of role. And I really like that for him. Zendaya did a good job for what she was given. I didn't think she was great in it, but she wasn't bad either. She's really good at playing that moody young girl. Like, oh, I'm young and full of angst and moody and angry all the time. It's like, yeah, no, she's good at that. It's like Bruce Willis. He's just Bruce Willis in different settings. Zendaya is just Zendaya in different settings, and she's good at it, so good on her. For the most part, I thought Timothée Chalamet did a really good job. He's a good actor. You could tell he's very committed to the role as well. And I didn't get to talk about this in a Dune 1 review because I didn't do a review for it, man. But the world building this movie does is fantastic. There's only a few franchises that really do a good job of building a world where you're immersed in it, right? Obviously, Star Wars comes to mind, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. And I'm not as invested into this world as much as I was those ones, but it does do a really good job of bringing you into this world to where you see how things operate, you see how it's going, and it all makes sense. And I love that a lot of the things, it doesn't explicitly tell you what's going on. It's not an exposition dump, right? Obviously, it is the medium of filmmaking, so you have to use dialogue, you have to use words to explain something, right? But it doesn't overdo it. It has dialogue exposition when it's needed, and a lot of other times it shows you something instead of just telling you about this world that it's building and this whole universe. It shows you what it's doing most of the time, and I thought it worked really well. And when it does use the dialogue, it uses it wonderfully. And of course, the story. The story was fantastic, and what it really did is it answered a lot of my questions I had from the first one. The first movie was a very incomplete story, and I didn't know this till earlier today, that it was the first half of the first book. So that's why it felt incomplete. That's why I had so many questions. So this movie answered a lot of those questions. Apparently this is the conclusion of that first book, and it really did a good job of answering those questions, closing those plot threads and those storylines that I was hooked on, on and wanted to know more about, and it gave this that sense of completion to that story. And I just thought that was really well done, because that is what made me kind of not like the first one as much as everyone else did, because it was an incomplete story. So I got the completed story in this. It does build on the very much, you know, traditional hero's journey. This kid is the chosen one for a prophecy. Things we've seen many times before, but I like where it takes it. It takes it in a bit of a different direction. For example, he doesn't think he's the chosen one. He doesn't want to be the chosen one for the most part of the movie, but and you know, he has these good characteristics, but he's not the complete, you know, squeaky clean Luke Skywalker hero, Steve Rogers type. He's got a lot of bad qualities too. And there are times where he will play and manipulate people and their beliefs of him being the chosen one to get what he wants. And you start to see that there's all these little factions, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. This movie is very layered. This story is very layered. And you'll see, like, okay, well, these people are fighting for the homeworld. These people are bad and want to oppress these people and take over their land and you know, mine all their resources. But these people aren't really that great either. And there's some things going on here, and these people have been manipulating everything from the shadows the whole time. And then this guy who's kind of good is kind of manipulating here. There's a lot going on, and you can see different sides of it. And it really does kind of come into question of, like, even if your cause is just, and even if you're doing the right thing, do the ends justify the means? Because there's a lot of times in this movie where, yeah, this is good for the common good, but what you're doing is immoral right now. So it does bring those questions, and it's not crystal clear cut. You know, in something like Star Wars or Marvel or DC, I want my heroes to be heroes and my villains to be villains. You know, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, there's good guys and there's bad guys. In this world of Dune, I like that there's a little bit of gray area where it is like a little bit like, yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but I don't completely agree with you. I like that, and I just thought it did a really good job of telling the story and making me want more. When Dune Part 3 comes out, I'm surprisingly excited to see the continuation of this story. This movie had a lot more action scenes, and the action was actually really cool. The first movie was boring. It was good, but it was boring. This movie had a lot more action scenes, and the action scenes that were in it were awesome. Jumping into my negatives, I'm tired of everybody whispering in this movie. Gosh, like when I watched Dune Part 1, I had the TV turned up to like 90 because everybody's just whispering and brooding the whole movie, and I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what I don't know. And I'm just like, dude, speak up, use your big boy voice. And that movie continues that, where there's just a lot of whispering, right? Like, if you're gonna see this movie, see it in the theater. Because if you're at home, you're gonna spend most of the time being like, what did you just say? And then turn it on the subtitles, and then once you turn those on, then you can't turn them off. It's annoying. Anyway, I thought a little bit of the religious commentary was a little bit heavy-handed of, you know, you use these prophecies to control people. It may not have been intended to be that, but I did think it was just a little, you know, heavy-handed. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But again, this is me nitpicking because I really did enjoy the movie. But those are all the negatives I have, and like I said, that's me nitpicking, trying to find negatives. So, getting into the final rating. Man, I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie a 7 out of 10, a solid B. A lot of other people are giving it like 9s and 9.5s and A+. I really enjoyed the movie. Like, understand, a 10 out of 10 movie for me is like Rocky and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Those are 10 out of 10s, those are perfect movies, those are great. So a 7 out of 10 and a B is a really good movie. I'm excited to see the rest of it. I'm excited to see the continuation of the story. I enjoyed it. It didn't blow me away. Go watch it. Go see it in the theater. Get the full experience, man. It's a good movie. Solid B rating for letter grade and a 7 out of 10. So, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Have you seen Dune Part 2 yet? If you have, what did you think? Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah. If you disagree with me, just do so respectfully down in the comments, and yeah, man, I think that's about it. So again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I love you, Jesus loves you, that's our story, and we're sticking to it. See you guys.